know about you guys, but I have found myself in the kitchen way more than I usually am since we have been staying home and quarantining during this time. So I wanted to share some things that I have found myself using over and over and over again, some things that I think you'll find helpful and make your kitchen life a little bit easier. So these are just my favorite kitchen tools, and today I wanted to share them with you. I am a big proponent of simplicity, and we don't need a lot of gadgets and we don't need a lot of things. Like, I don't own an Instant Pot or an air fryer and things like that. I like to just kind of stick to the basics and old traditional methods of cooking. But these tools I have found myself just reaching for and washing every single day, especially my zester, my Microplane. I have washed this, I think, like twice a day since we've been in lockdown here. So I think it's funny, I never would have guessed how much I use this, but I use this to grate cheese, to zest, to microplane garlic. I find myself using this once or twice a day. So if you don't have one of these, I definitely recommend it. I think you can get them for like 10 bucks. I will link everything in the description below so that you can have easy access to all of these tools. So number one, my microplane or my zester, I use that all the time. And I think that having a really good set of tongs, if you don't have a set of tongs, you could always use another set. I think that kitchen tongs are one of the most used, loved, necessary tools in the kitchen. It's like having an extension of your hand that you can stick into boiling hot water. So if you don't have a really good set of metal kitchen tongs that has a really good lock on it, I definitely recommend one. These are great. I got these from Williams-Sonoma, and the lock is really good. If you have a set of tongs and the lock is a little loose, you know that it can just like come out and also pinch you, which is annoying. So a really good set of kitchen tongs. Also a knife that you can have an emotional connection with. I don't know if I'm the only one, but having a really good knife that you love. Is it okay to say that you love a knife? This was sent to me by Zwilling, and I loved the wood handle of it, but this knife has become one of my favorite kitchen tools. I absolutely love it. It's really well balanced. It's incredibly sharp. When I first got it, I cut myself, and then my sister came over. I don't know what she was doing. And I came in the house and she's like, "Where are your Band-Aids?" And I was like, "What?" And she goes, "I cut myself with that knife." I was like, "Oh yeah, you have to be really careful with that knife because this knife is very sharp, but you want a really sharp knife. There's nothing worse than if you're trying to cut a tomato and your knife slips because it's not sharp enough." So having a really good balanced knife, and I love the wood aspect of this, and I think it just makes it feel really traditional, really beautiful. So I love this knife. Recommend. 100% recommend that. Good pair of scissors. If you don't have a good pair of scissors in your kitchen, I think you're missing out. I have a couple pairs. My aunt got me a pair. Once they go dull, you know, scissors, like it's same with sewing. Once your scissors go dull, everything else goes to hell. So having a really good set of sharp kitchen scissors is total necessity in the kitchen. Having a good whisk set, I think, is really important. I got these for my wedding, and I find myself using them all of the time for different things like making sauces. Just last night I made orange chicken, and I made a sauce with this whisk, and then I made some gravy the night before with this whisk. So having a really good set of whisks that are all metal that you can just pop in the dishwasher, I love having. A good silicone brush is a really good kitchen tool for basting things, for brushing things, for so many different things that you find yourself cooking. And the fact that it's silicone means that it's not going to shed like a makeup brush into your food, because nobody wants like a weird paintbrush hair in their food. I think that a lot of us are doing a lot of baking right now, and I found myself using this little scooper a ton recently as I've been baking more. So if you're baking and you're baking a lot, one of these little scoops is super handy if you're making cupcakes, if you're making cookies, that sort of thing. It keeps everything measured out and even, and it's all metal, so you can just pop it right in the dishwasher. Another wedding gift that I got, this could be a really good registry video too. If you are registering for a wedding or you know somebody that needs to register, all of these are great registry items, but we received this for our wedding, and just recently I went to link it in a blog post, and I realized it was $100. I was like, oh my gosh, I couldn't believe this was such a good gift. I use this all of the time. I didn't realize that it was a $100 item But with that said, I think that it's really, it is worth it. If you don't have an instant rate thermometer, of course there are less expensive ones, but this one is really, really good, and I use this for baking. I use it for all of my meat when I'm checking temperatures. I use it for grilling. I find myself using this honestly probably once a day. So if you don't have a good instant rate thermometer, I totally recommend investing in one. So you might be wondering why I have a sandpaper block in the kitchen. This was given to me by my aunt, and this is a great tip. It's a waterproof sandpaper block, and it is fabulous for getting off little oopsies. You know what I mean? When you've cooked something a little too long or you forgot about something and it's baked onto your dish or it's baked into your pan. This is a really fine sandpaper, so it's not going to scratch up your pan, but it will get rid of any like little food bits that are totally stuck on and you can't get off. And I use this all the time. Just recently on this dish here, I had some cheese and stuff stuck to it that didn't come off in the dishwasher. I couldn't get off with my sponge, so I used this little sandpaper block, and in like 30 seconds it was all off. So you can get those at the hardware store or order it on Amazon. I'll put a link. Before I talk about my favorite dishes, I'm going to talk about my favorite little kitchen mat. This is a Silpat Baking Mat, and I have 3 of these. I continuously rotate between them. I put them in the dishwasher. I think it's funny, there are things that I didn't know you weren't supposed to put it in the dishwasher, and I didn't even realize that till some people on Instagram told me. So I've been putting this in the dishwasher, cutting on it, using it up. I mean, I think it's 20 bucks, and this has lasted, I've had these for probably 2 or 3 years. This one is starting to fall apart, but I don't want to baby it. I want to just use it, and if I have to replace it every 3 years, that's fine with me. So if you don't have a Silpat baking mat, they are fabulous. You bake right on them. Everything comes off of them. They make things just a non-stick and cook really evenly. So that is definitely one of my favorite kitchen tools. So I recently posted a video on Instagram about how to roast a chicken. So if you haven't checked that out, I hope that you'll go watch that video. And I used this dish. This is one of my favorite roasting dishes because it's really big, and you can see it's like the size of my body. This is the Le Creuset, and I got this at TJ Maxx. That's a tip. If you have a TJ Maxx around you, they always have Le Creuset on sale for like half the price, if not less than half the price. So you can get these there. But also, I really like Stobe. Stobe is one of my favorite brands. I love their Dutch ovens. They're my favorite Dutch ovens. And these are typically on sale too, and I'll try and find some that are on sale. I really like this set because it comes with 2. This one's great for cooking vegetables, and then this one's great for cooking meat and things like that. I love the black color. It's matte, it feels a little bit more modern, and you can stick it on the barbecue and it can get grill marks and it can get dirty and you'll never know. So I really like that about this, and I love the design. If you don't have some of those, either the Le Creuset or the Stobe, I definitely recommend getting one. I use them all the time for baking any type of casserole and that sort of thing. Plus I think it's a little bit prettier than your traditional 9x13. So if I'm baking brownies or a cake, I'll typically bake it in here just because I think that it makes it feel a little bit prettier than in just a regular old glass baking dish. Another thing that I really, really love that is a kitchen gadget that I find myself using all the time is my Vitamix mixer. I make all my smoothies and things like that in there. So aside from really fresh ingredients, these are kind of my go-to kitchen cooking tools. This is all I really use. I feel that you don't really need a bunch of gadgets and a bunch of tools to make really good food. You just need the techniques, and then the few tools that you do have, just make sure that they're really good quality. I hope that you guys enjoyed watching this video, maybe learned about a new product that you want to try. If this is your first time here, I hope that you will like, follow, subscribe. For more recipes and ideas, you can always visit me at boxofavenue.com.